Good morning, dear students of grade 12. Good morning, dear teachers. Good morning, everybody in this seminar for grade 12, Unit 7, MR series. At the beginning, allow me to introduce my colleagues in the studio. Miss Ula Al-Moui, English Language Supervisor, Tartus Directorate. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Miss Lamis Zainab, English Language Teacher, Tartus Directorate. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning.
Dear students, we're going to start with Unit 7, as I said earlier. It is about prose. Prose is a genre of writing. Miss Ula is going to talk about the outlines.
Okay, so this unit is for the literary section. We're going to start with, in the book of course, listening for specific information. We're going to listen to a text and have some questions about it. Speaking is going to be asking for and giving information. We're going to have a text reading about prose, a genre of literature, and writing is about the benefits of reading. The grammar section is for the conditional sentences, the second one and the third one. Pronunciation, we're going to have a look at some silent letters. With the vocabulary, we have phrasal verbs and prepositional phrases. And in the English everyday English, we have on the phone terms.
We're going to start with the listening part, since we always start with listening because we think, or maybe we are sure, it is the most important skill. Because without listening, we can't speak, we can't read, we can't write.
Language starts with listening, yes.
So we are going to listen twice. The first time for general information, then we are going to listen a second time for specific details. Let's listen the first time. Agatha Christie is one of the world's best known and best loved authors. Her famous detectives and her brilliantly constructed plots have caught the imagination of generations of readers. Although she lived to an old age and wrote many books, she did not reveal much about her personal life. In December 1926, an incident occurred which would have made a fascinating detective story in itself. At the top of her success with her first novel, she apparently disappeared suddenly for 10 days. At the time, she was extremely anxious because of her divorce. She was sleeping badly, she couldn't write, and she was eating very little. On Friday the 3rd of December, Agatha told her secretary and companion, Carlo, she wanted a day alone. When Carlo returned in the evening, she found that the garage doors had been left open, and the maids were looking frightened. Mrs. Christie had left quickly without saying anything, and the police found no trace of her. Agatha's disappearance was a mystery and caused a lot of suspicion. The mystery ended 10 days later, when Agatha was found alive and well in a health spa in Yorkshire. Her husband declared that she had lost her memory, but to this day, nobody really knows what happened during these missing 10 days. Well, so the first question is, what is it about?
This one is about a writer called Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie is a murder mystery writer. And in this section, we can know that first they talked about Agatha Christie as a writer, and then about her life and the mysterious event that happened with her.
Thank you so much.
This is the general idea.
So this is the general idea. Thank you so much. Now we are going to listen a second time, but we have questions to be answered. We can see the questions on the screen. I'm going to start the audio a second time. After we listen, we're going to answer the questions. Agatha Christie is one of the world's best known and best loved authors. Her famous detectives and her brilliantly constructed plots have caught the imagination of generations of readers. Although she lived to an old age and wrote many books, she did not reveal much about her personal life. In December 1926, an incident occurred which would have made a fascinating detective story in itself. At the top of her success with her first novel, she apparently disappeared suddenly for 10 days. At the time, she was extremely anxious because of her divorce. She was sleeping badly, she couldn't write, and she was eating very little. On Friday the 3rd of December, Agatha told her secretary and companion, Carlo, she wanted a day alone. When Carlo returned in the evening, she found that the garage doors had been left open, and the maids were looking frightened. Mrs. Christie had left quickly without saying anything, and the police found no trace of her. Agatha's disappearance was a mystery and caused a lot of suspicion. The mystery ended 10 days later, when Agatha was found alive and well in a health spa in Yorkshire. Her husband declared that she had lost her memory, but to this day, nobody really knows what happened during these missing 10 days. Question number 1, Ms. Saula, please read it.
The first one is Agatha Christie's plots have caught the of generations of readers. We have multiple choices. The one that is correct is imagination. They have caught the imagination of generations of readers.
So not spirit, not world,
No.
not money, the imagination. Question number 2, Ms. Lamis.
Agatha Christie's personal life was clear, mysterious, silly, or ugly. It was mysterious.
Mysterious. Question number 3, Ms. Saula.
The third one, she apparently disappeared suddenly for 10 days, 10 mysterious days, and no one could find her.
Yes. Question number 4, Ms.
The
Lamis.
police found no money or friends, trace, or books of her. Trace of her.
Trace. Number 5.
And Agatha's disappearance was a mystery and caused a lot of superstitions. Suspicion. They didn't know where she disappeared.
Ms. Lamis, number 6.
Her husband declared that she had lost her memory, money, method, or mirror. It was her memory. She lost her. He declared she lost her memory.
Her husband.
Before we move to the reading part about prose, for the teachers, you can now have a speaking test.
Yeah.
Speaking skill. You can talk about Agatha Christie. You can ask the students to talk about what they know about Agatha Christie, or if they liked the story about her or didn't like it, or you can invent another issue to ask students to talk about it.
Different details.
Yes. You can have a dialogue between some students about the story. They can talk to each other about their ideas. So we need to have a speaking skill after the listening skill. Now we can move to the reading skill. Prose, a genre of literature. I'm going to read. I hope I don't need my glasses. I think I need them. Prose is a form of language that has no formal metrical structure. It applies a natural flow of speech and ordinary grammatical structure rather than rhythmic structure, such as in the case of traditional poetry. Normal everyday speech is spoken in prose, and most people think and write in prose form. Prose is composed of full grammatical sentences, which consist of paragraphs and ignores aesthetic appeal in favor of clear, direct language. It can be said to be the mirror of informal speech. Some works of prose do have versification, and a mix of the two formal is called prose poetry. Common types of prose. Non-fictional prose, a literary work that is mainly based on fact, may contain fictional elements in certain cases to express thoughts and ideas of the speaker. The form of writing is often hard and persuasive. and suits the occasion to convey a specific message. 2. Fictional prose, a literary work that is wholly or partly imagined or theoretical. This is usually written in the form of a narrative and may be entirely a fabrication of the author's imagination, as in novels. 3. Heroic prose, a literary work that may be written down or recited, employs many of the standard expressions found in oral traditions, as in legends, tales, and plays. To some extent, prose written in plays aims to be dramatic and eventful. However, in plays, prose is often in conversational mode and is produced by a character. Thus, this style stays the same throughout the play according to the personality of the character. 4. Prose poetry, a literary work that exhibits poetic quality, using emotional effects and enhanced imagery, which are written in prose instead of verse. Function of prose. The reason for prose acceptance can be attributed to its loosely defined structure, which most writers feel comfortable using when expressing or conveying their ideas and thoughts. It is the standard style of writing used for most spoken dialogues. Fictional as well as topical and factual writing and discourses. It is also the common language used in newspapers, magazines, literature, encyclopedias, broadcasting, philosophy, law, history, the sciences, and many other forms of communication. Ms. Saula,
Yes, please.
will you please read question number 1,
Okay.
choose A, B, C, or D?
Okay. The first one is prose is a form of language that applies a natural flow of speech, formal metrical structure, rhythmic structure, or poetic form. It applies natural flow of speech.
Thank you. Natural flow of speech.
Sorry, flow.
I think we have a call. I don't know if it is ready. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Adam. I want to ask a question.
Hi, Adam, please.
What's the difference between using was and were in the conditional sentences?
Difference between using what? Sorry?
Was or were.
Was or were? Yeah.
Yes, what's the difference between using was and were in the conditional sentences?
Okay, okay. Actually, both are accepted. Was is informal, were is more formal. But both are correct, actually. Do you have anything to add?
No,
Okay,
nothing
thanks.
to add. So
Correct. Both of them are
Any
correct.
other question, Adam?
No.
Thank you for calling. Thank you so much.
it's confusing for some students, but they are both correct and both accepted.
Yes, both are accepted. Was is informal, where is formal. Actually, both are correct. The original is was with he, she, it, and I, but we can use were instead of was
all
in
conditionals.
conditional sentences. Thank you for calling. Number 2, Ms. Lamis.
Prose ignores A. Full grammatical sentences, B. Paragraphs, C. Aesthetic appeal, D. Clear, direct language. Prose ignores aesthetic appeal. It means the rhythmic and the rhythmic structure and the metrical structure of this paragraph.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lamis. Ms. Ula,
Okay, the work of prose that have versification and a mix of the two formats is called heroic prose, non-fictional prose, fictional prose, or prose poetry. It is called prose poetry.
yes, prose poetry. Thank you. Now, number 4,
to
Ms.
express
Lamis.
thoughts and ideas of the speaker, non-fictional prose may contain theories, poems, fictional elements, historical features, fictional elements.
Okay, and number 5,
Number
heroic
5.
prose in play stays the same throughout the play according to the personality of the playwright, literary work, personality of the character or author's imagination. It stays the same according to the personality of the character.
Thank you so much. Ms. Lamis, number
Prose
6.
is widely accepted and used by most writers because of its loosely defined structure, formal form, and or poetic equality or fabrications. It's loosely defined structure that is easier and for the writers.
Thank you. And I want to tell the students that this is the form of exam. In the final exam, you are going to have 4 choices, A, B, C, D, and you are going to choose the correct one.
Okay.
We move.
Now we have vocabulary from the text.
Ms. Sala, please.
Okay. We have discourses, aesthetic, persuasive, convey, non-fictional, and versification, and we need to match them to their meanings.
Yes.
To start with the first one, the art of writing poetry is called versification.
Yes.
This is the art of writing poetry.
Number 2, realistic means non-fictional.
Yes. Non-fictional means no imagination.
Yeah.
It's not from your mind. It's real. So realistic means non-fictional.
Okay, now able to make somebody do or believe something. This is persuasive.
Persuasive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 4, to communicate or express something with or without using words. This is to convey.
When
Convey
something,
a message.
Yes, when
Yeah.
something is concerned with beauty and art, this is aesthetic.
Yeah. Long
Yes.
and serious discussion in speech or writing. This is called discourse or discourses.
Long and serious discussion.
Yeah, long and serious
in
discussion
speech
in
or
speech or
writing
writing
discourses.
discourses.
We come to the workbook, Charles Dickens. I'm going to read, if you allow me.
Please.
Sure.
Famous British author Charles John Haffam Dickens was born on February the 7th, 1812, in Portsmouth, a port city in southern England. He was the second of 8 siblings. His father, John Dickens, was a marine writer, and he dreamed that the profession would make him rich. His mother, Elizabeth Barrow, rose to become a teacher and then a school principal. Despite his parents' best efforts, the family remained poor. Nevertheless, the family was happy in its early days. In 1816, the family moved to Chatham, Kent, where Charles and his brothers were free to roam the countryside and explore old Rochester Castle. In 1822, the family moved to Camden, a poor district of London. During this period, the family's economic conditions deteriorated, and his father was imprisoned in 1824, when Charles was only 12 years old. As a result of his father's imprisonment, Charles Dickens had to drop out of school and work in a boat painting factory beside the Thames. This was the best he could do to help his family, bidding his childish innocence, and this incident became a recurring theme in his writing. After a while, he was allowed back to school after his father received a family inheritance, which he used to pay off his debts. But when Dickens was 15, he was again denied an education. And in 1827, he had to drop out of school and work as a courier in an office to contribute to his family's income. As it turned out, this work became an early stepping stone towards his work as a writer. A year after starting his career in the office, Dickens began his work as a freelance report writer in the London law courts. Only a few years later, he became a reporter for 2 major newspapers in London. In 1833, he began presenting skits to various magazines and newspapers under the pseudonym Bose. His first stories were published in the first book in 1836, Sketches by Bose. Dickens' writing became so popular with readers that he began publishing his first novel, Oliver Twist, as episodes in a newspaper telling the tale of an orphan living on the streets. The story was inspired by the feeling of Dickens, a poor child forced to make a living through his own wits. Oliver Twist readers have been eagerly awaiting the next month episode. In 1859, Dickens published A Tale of Two Cities, a historical novel set at the time of the French Revolution. In 1865, Dickens had a train accident and never fully recovered from it. Despite his unhealthy conditions, he continued to wander until 1870. On June the 9th, 1870, Dickens suffered a stroke and died at the age of 58 in Gad's Hill, his country town in Kent, England. We come to the questions.
Okay.
Hope the text is clear to the students. Miss Ola.
The first one, Charles Dickens is from France, Britain, America, Canada. So he's a British writer, so he's from Britain.
Britain. Thank you.
Number 2, Charles Dickens' father was a British author or a teacher, school principal, or a marine writer. He was a marine writer,
Yes.
as mentioned in the text.
Marine writer. Thank you. Miss
When
Ola.
Charles was only 12 years old, the family moved to
Gotham.
Gotham. His father was imprisoned. The family was happy. He was denied an education. Actually, his father was imprisoned.
Exactly.
Charles Dickens' first novel is called Oliver Twist, Gad's Hill, A Tale of Two Cities, The French Revolution, Oliver Twist.
Oliver Twist. Number 5, Miss Ola.
Oliver Twist was published every month, weekly, on February 7, 1812, or as a book. It was published every month in a kind of newsletter, newspaper, something like that.
Yes.
A Tale of
in-
Two Cities is a historical novel set at the time of his birth, his death, the French Revolution, or the accident, the French Revolution.
Yes. Thank you so much. We come to vocabulary, phrasal verbs, and prepositional phrases.
Okay, with every unit we have
Miss
two
Ola.
kinds of vocabulary. One's from the text and different vocabulary that are idioms, phrasal verbs, things like that. In this lesson we have...
Actually, phrasal verbs are very important
Yes.
to
Yeah.
be understood because sometimes they change the meaning of the literal word.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can't figure out the meaning if we are not familiar with it. We need to understand it.
Yes, and we need to learn the vocabulary, even the phrasal verbs, through the context.
Yes.
That's it.
Now, for example, in this exercise, we have to match the underlying phrasal verbs with their meaning to make sure that we understand the meaning. For example, could you read back my son's letter for me?
So please, Miss Ola, you read the sentences 1 to 5, and Miss Lamis reads the meanings.
Okay. I will read the whole sentences now?
Yes,
Okay.
from 1 to 5.
Could you read back my son's letter for me? Buyers should read over the contract before signing it. The nurse read of patient's temperature from the thermometer. He has been reading up on the words second. The teacher is reading out the names of the students.
Meanings.
Yes.
A. Read information that is printed on something. B. Read aloud from a list. C. To read out aloud something that is written down. D. Read something carefully from the beginning to the end. E. To spend time reading in order to find out information about something.
Now we have
Now
to
we
match.
come
Yeah.
to match them.
The first one, could you read back my son's letter for me, means to read out aloud something that is written down. So when
Miss-
something is written, read it aloud. This is read back, read back.
Thank you. Miss Lamis, number 2.
Buyers should read over the contract before signing it. When you read something over, you read it from top to bottom. It means to read something carefully from the beginning to the end.
To the end.
When the nurse read off patient's temperature from the thermometer, it means it read the information that is printed on something.
Number 4, Miss Lamis.
He has been reading up on the World War II. Reading up, it means to spend time reading something. So we match it to E, to spend time reading in order to find out information about something.
Now in the final exam, when the teacher is reading out the names of the students, it means she is or he is reading aloud from a list. We have a list and we are reading aloud.
Yes, they're all called, maybe. Now choose the correct phrasal verb between brackets. Number 1, Miss Ula.
The little boy was reading off or up the ingredients of the biscuits when his mother videoed him. He was reading off the ingredients.
Yes, number 2, Miss.
As soon as the patient arrived at the hospital, the doctor immediately read his temperature off or over, because he read it from top to bottom.
Yes, Miss Ula.
Now my elder brother is engaged in reading for or on the economic success of Singapore. Reading about it.
So
Economic on.
Number 4, Miss Lamis.
the company representative read the contract over before she signed it.
Not 4, yes.
Yeah.
Number 5, Miss Ula.
I can't go out with you. I have a test tomorrow and I'm reading for it. I'm reading for the test.
Yeah.
Yes, number 6.
The babysitter had read the story back 3 times before the kid fell asleep. So she repeated it 3 times.
Again and again.
Again and again. Yeah.
Match the verb with its corresponding noun. We have make, raise, give, run, meet, lose, and we have the nouns a lift, temper, an effort, a risk, taxes, and expectations.
This is again important if we need to sound English, because sometimes it's different in meaning between Arabic and English. So they need to know the exact verb with the exact noun. For example, we say lose temper. Lose temper.
Lose temper means not calm anymore, maybe angry,
Furious.
maybe
Angry, furious. Yeah.
furious like this. So when you lose your temper, you become
Angry, out of
angry,
control.
sometimes mad.
Yeah. Run risk. Number 2. We say run risk. It means to face danger.
Face danger, yes. Runs risk means to face danger.
When we raise taxes, collect money, raise taxes.
Yes.
Meet expectations. Like, for example, someone when he meets the expectation of his boss or his principal, okay, it means to
Parents.
reach to his, if the boss is satisfied with him or not. Yeah,
He doesn't let the boss down.
yeah, that's it.
When
Another phrasal verb.
Yeah.
Yes. Miss
When we give a lift, it means when we take someone with us in a taxi, in a car, give a lift.
you
That's
usually
it.
do that in your car,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And we
I
can say
don't.
also give a ride.
Give a ride.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
Make an effort
Make an effort.
to pay your
It is
efforts
very
doing
important
something.
because this is confusing. Sometimes some students say, is it do an effort or make an effort?
So make an effort.
You
So
make
it is
an
make
effort.
an effort. Students need to know how to use this. Now we're going to fill in the spaces
Using these nouns and
using
verbs.
these nouns and verbs. Yes, Miss Ula,
The
number
first
1.
one, our boss often gets angry, and when things go wrong, he loses his temper.
Loses
When
his
things
temper.
go wrong.
Number 2, if she never posts anything on her personal website, she runs the risk of alienating her fans. It means they're gonna just abandon her.
Yes.
Now, politicians often think the government should raise taxes in order to get more money to spend. Raise taxes.
Yes.
The new teacher didn't meet the headmaster's expectations and was fired after only 2 months. It means kicked out of the company.
Poor teacher.
Yeah.
Now his car broke down, so I, to the nearest garage, because he doesn't have a car, I gave him a lift. To the
Now-
nearest garage.
Yeah, not everything happens on its own. Sometimes you have to make an effort to get something done. And here the students must pay attention to the singular, okay, that we use with everything. Like it might be some of the underlined,
Happens, yes.
yeah, not everything happens.
Yes. Every and each are always followed with
By
singular
for the verb. And
although the meaning is
Plural.
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 In Arabic, of course.
Yes, when we say every teacher, it means
We mean all
all
the teachers.
teachers,
That's it.
but we say every teacher is, not are. Thank you
And,
so
and
much.
the plural for the pronoun. Like every student
Exactly.
has their homework.
Their homework.
That's it.
Every student does
Or, yeah,
their homework,
That's
and everyone has their passports.
that's it.
Yes, thank you so much. We use a plural pronoun, but a singular verb. Complete the sentences with a prepositional phrase from the box.
So we said we have phrasal verbs and prepositional phrases.
Will you please read the prepositional phrases, Miss Ola?
Okay, in the long run, between the lines, in advance, at risk, in theory, on and off.
On and off, yes. Miss Lamis, number one.
Number one, just a sec. If you read between the lines, you will clearly see what he means.
Yes.
Between the lines, it means chapter and verse, and
Yes,
to know
yes.
every single detail.
Sometimes you read something, but it doesn't reveal the intention of the writer. You need to read between the lines
That's
to
it.
understand what he means. Number two, Miss
It will take some time, but in the long run, all schools will be equipped with modern technology, hopefully. So in the long run, it means something like in time. We need time
After a
for this
period,
to
yeah.
happen. Yes.
Number three.
We were told by the travel agent to book in advance because the hotel is very popular by many tourists. In advance here we mean ahead.
Ahead
To
or
book.
earlier.
Yeah, to book
Earlier.
ahead.
Number four.
Now his plan seemed very good, but it didn't work out the way we wanted it to. So it was very good in theory. It means theoretically speaking, when in practically speaking, it was different. In theory.
They used to have on and off relationships, but the moment they're seeing each other but at the moment they're seeing each other quite often. On and off, it means not constantly, okay? It means just for a short time and then stop for time. Like we say this one, especially for the rain. It's been raining on and off.
Sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't have it.
That's it.
Sometimes they have a quarrel, they stop talking to each other, then they reconciliate, and so on.
Yeah.
Now
Usually this happens.
Yes, of course, every time. Many tropical plants and animals are at risk of becoming extinct over the next few decades. So at risk, so something like they are endangered,
In
maybe?
danger.
Yeah.
In danger. Now we come to grammar. The question our dear Adam asked, it was about the use
conditional
of
sentences.
was and were in conditional sentences. We're going to talk about conditional sentences type 2 and type 3. Miss Ola,
Okay, the first one to start with conditional sentences type 2. About the form, we start with if with the simple past and the main clause with would or infinitive, and it refers to imaginary situation in the present.
so the time is present or
Present.
future, not past.
No, of course not.
We
But
use the simple past to
because
show
it's
that it is
imaginary.
unreal.
Unreal.
Yes.
Like for example, if I had enough money, I would buy a Ferrari. I don't have enough money, but if I did, I would buy a Ferrari. So the form is if clause, then main clause with the if. So if simple past and would with the infinitive. If I found her address, I would send her an invitation. I don't have her address, so it's unreal. If I were you, I wouldn't do this. I'm not in your shoes, so I'm not you.
So this is for giving advice. Miss Lamis,
Yeah.
the use.
We use the conditional sentences type 2 refer to something not true about the present or the future, so something imaginary. If I had enough money now, I would visit my aunt. It means I don't have enough money now, so I can't visit her. Note, in informal English, we use were instead of was in second conditional, so was is not wrong.
In
The if
formal
clause,
English, we
yeah.
use were, as
sorry,
I said.
informal English. Yeah, sorry.
But you joined informal together,
Informal,
so I
yeah.
received it as against what I said to Adam.
Yeah.
So what I said to Adam was
No,
right.
we use were
of
in
course.
formal English and was in informal
So
English.
in space,
Yeah.
formal English,
English,
we
yeah.
use were instead of was in second conditionals with I, he, she, it.
That's it. The if clause can be the first or the second in the sense.
So we can start with if or put it in the middle of the sentence.
Yes, the difference is when we start with if, we put a comma. When we start with the main clause, we can put a comma, but we don't need.
We don't use it, yes.
Yes, Miss Ola.
Now with the conditional sentences type 3, this way we have if with the past perfect, the main clause with would have past participle, and it refers to imaginary situation in the past, so it's impossible.
The time here is past.
It's past.
And when we use if in the past, it is unreal.
Unreal, of course. It will not happen. If I had enough money, I would have bought a Ferrari, so it's over now. I hadn't had money and I didn't buy any Ferrari. The form, so if clause with the main clause or main clause with if clause, so we can start with if or put it in the middle. Yes. So if with the past perfect, then would have past participle. Example, if I had found her address, I would have sent her an invitation. I believe in this example, the party is over now. We can invite anyone. We can invite.
Plus have plus past participle, this is past future perfect. In the past, we didn't have this tense in our books, so we used to say would plus have plus. It is called past future perfect.
The use.
The use, yes.
Conditional sentences type 3 refer to something not true about the past. They are truly hypothetical and unreal.
Unreal.
If I had enough money yesterday, I would have visited my aunt. It means I didn't have enough money yesterday.
Is it money or time? You like money so much.
I'm sorry.
You like money.
We all do.
We all do.
It's because like I haven't put on my glasses.
I thought on your laptop it's written money. In my laptop
no,
it's written time.
Whatever. Money or because maybe my aunt lives so far away, so I need to pay money.
Yeah, usually we don't do a lot of things because we don't have money. Yes, yes, you're right. You're right. Conditional sentences type 2 and 3. Note, Miss Saula.
Now we have some things to put in mind. In the first conditionals, we can use when instead of if to show that something is more likely. So it's more likely than using if. For example, I'll give you a lift into town if I finish my work in time. The if, it means most probably I'm not going to finish, but if I finish, I will give you a lift. I am not sure if I will be able to give you a lift. But when I say, I'll give you a lift into town when I finish this work, it means I know I'm going to finish it, and when I finish it, I'm going to give you a lift.
Yes. You feel more relaxed when someone says when, not
yes,
if.
of course, of course. We use unless to show a negative condition with a similar meaning to if not, unless. For example, unless she had fastened the seat belt, she would have fastened the seat belt, she would have been injured. So if she hadn't, now she's safe.
Yes.
She was rescued by the seat belt.
The following one, we have an exercise. Put the verbs in brackets into the correct tense. We start with Miss Lamis.
So, if I started writing poetry, my English teacher would be surprised. It means, in the time being, I don't start or I'm not writing poetry, so the teacher, is not surprised. This is the imaginary situation at present.
Number 2, Miss Saula.
So, people would see my photo everywhere if I were or was a famous model. I'm not a famous model. If I was, people would see my photo everywhere.
That's
Since we don't have a mixed time conditional anymore, it's easy for the students when they see would, they choose the simple past, and when they see would have
past
perfect.
perfect.
Number
3, if the family had saved enough money, they would have bought a new flat. It means they didn't save enough money, so they couldn't buy a new flat.
So it's money now.
Yeah, now it's money.
Yes, it's always money.
Yeah.
The buildings wouldn't have burned to ashes if the firemen had come in time. So the firemen didn't come on time, so it burned to ashes.
Yes, unfortunately. Number 5, Miss
If my little sister did something wrong, I'm sure she would tell me. it means my sister doesn't do, okay, any wrong thing, so
It's unreal
yeah, this is
situation.
unreal situation. And actually, I don't have a sister,
Okay,
so
so
it's gonna be
So it's unreal
Perfect.
at all.
Unreal at all.
unreal at all. Yeah.
If the policeman had seen the thief, he would have arrested him. So, but he didn't see the thief. If he had seen the thief, he would have arrested him.
Match an item from column A with its correspondence in column B. We have A and B. Miss Saula,
Okay, the
number
first one. If you practiced more, your English would improve. So practice simple past would improve the best choice.
Now, this kind of exercise can be done by trying all the correspondence
Yeah.
Of course.
sentences. If you practiced more, he would have awarded.
Doesn't work.
It's not working. So we try every single one until we find the
correct one or
correspondence.
the correct
And the exam,
correspondence.
there are going to be only 4 choices, so easier than this one.
Yes.
Number 2, I would ring the police if I saw a Bulgara breaking into my house.
Okay, if the referee had seen the foul, he would have awarded a penalty kick to our team.
I think it's a foul.
Foul. Okay, so, okay.
Number 4.
I would build a huge house if I won the lottery. It's all about money when it comes to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know that you don't like money.
No, of course not.
Who doesn't?
If I had had your address, I would have written you a postcard.
And the last one, she wouldn't have arrived on time if she had taken the bus. It means maybe she didn't take the bus, she walked to the place.
She wouldn't have arrived on time if she had
She
taken.
took the bus, that's why she arrived on time.
Now here we have the
I
type
think
of
it is
questions.
the opposite. She.
If she, I said it from the beginning, but I thought you were.
This is confusing.
Yeah, it is.
This means that the bus doesn't come on
That's
time.
it. Yeah.
Maybe she
wouldn't
took a
arri-
taxi,
yeah,
or maybe she ran.
That's it.
If she took the bus, she wouldn't arrive. This
That's
is
it.
the meaning.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be better if we say she wouldn't have arrived on time if she hadn't taken the bus. This is more logical.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's funny.
She took a taxi, so the taxi is faster.
Maybe she flew.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Choose the correct answer, A, B, or C.
Now this is the type of questions students are going to have with multiple
But
choices.
in the exam, they are going to
4.
be 4.
4 choices.
We're going to have D, not only C. Number
I'm
1.
very unhappy if my friends didn't come to the party. I would be. Because we have didn't come, so simple past, so we choose I would be. In this sentence, we started with the other clause, not the if clause.
Number 2, your brother wouldn't have found such a nice job if he hadn't had a university diploma. So because of that, he got a good job.
Okay. If you had come in time, you wouldn't have missed the lesson.
People wouldn't have crossed the Bosphorus if these bridges hadn't built. It means because they built them, they crossed to the Bosphorus.
You would, yes.
Yes, continue.
You would have some money. This is my turn now.
Yeah.
The money. You would have some money in your pocket if you didn't spend it so generously. So be generous, but not
Number
too much.
6. We have 3 minutes to
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah. If I weren't in debt, I would quit my job. It means I am in debt.
Yes. Pronunciation, silent letters. We have logically, we have climb, we have muscle, we have Wednesday, we have make. Actually, the E, when it comes
In the
after
magical
a
E.
consonant preceded with A, it means we say the A, not A. Without E, we say mac. With E, make, calm,
Halfpenny.
halfpenny, alight, exhaust, business, knife, mnemonic, autumn, sword, castle, and colleague. We come to writing. And now I think we still have 2 minutes. What can we say in these 2 minutes quickly to the students? No more. Ms. Saula, please.
Okay, they have to organize their ideas, have kind of brainstorming before starting to write. When they organize their ideas, they can have an introduction, a body, and conclusion. When they finish writing, they need to check their spelling, their grammar, and the use of vocabulary. So just need to organize your ideas.
And first, from now till the end of the year, before the final exam, they need to practice how to write sentences.
Yeah, because practice makes perfect.
Yes, if they know how to write a sentence, they can write a composition.
Of course.
Yeah,
it will be
sure.
very easy. Ms. Lamis, do you have anything to add before we
Just
wrap
to be
up?
as simple as possible while writing their topic in the exam, because when they're simple and they follow the simple style, they won't commit mistakes, especially grammatical ones.
My advice as well to students, be as simple as possible.
Don't use
Yeah.
very long sentences.
Because we have a lot of correctors who are not as high level as you. So be as simple as possible, so
yes.
that you get the full mark. In the end, I want to thank my colleagues in the studio, Ms. Ula Al-Mu'i, English Language Supervisor, Tartus Directorate,
Thank you for having us, sir.
Ms. Lamis Zainab, English Language Teacher, Tartus Directorate.
It's been an honor to be with you.
Thank you so much. And this is me. I didn't introduce myself at the beginning, so I'm going to say my name now, Abdelmajid Ogharli, Senior Supervisor and Coordinator of English Language. We hope you got benefit of this seminar, and we hope you get high marks. Thank you so much for being with us, and good luck. Bye-bye.